Could have been better. All right. My name's Chase. I've been coming here forever, my entire life. I volunteer a lot with children, specifically 4th and 5th graders on Wednesday nights. I lead that group of kids. It's a fun time. They're crazy, as is every kid. So we've had a couple weeks off from this. It's been 2 weeks since we've talked about Job at all. And to recap a little bit, we go over a little bit of it. And the first week was our Job intro, and it says, do you trust God only in your successes or also in your challenges? And then Job friend 1, which was Eliphaz, are you trusting God with your life and his perspective? And then Job friend 2, which is Bildad, are your words and actions showing love? This week, we're going to talk about Zophar, friend number 3. And a quick preface to Zophar, doesn't come off very nice. What I've read about Zophar, he's pretty mean, honestly. You guys will see that as we go through it. So I'm going to start with a quote by C.I. Schofield. And it says, Zophar was a religious dogmatist who assumes to know all about God, what God will do in any given case, why he will do it, and all of his thoughts about it. Of all forms of dogmatism, this is the most irreverent and least open to reason. So Zophar he believes what he believes, and nothing's going to change that. So we're going to talk about Zophar first, and Zophar in Job 11, and then we're going to talk about Job in Job 19, and we're going to go back to Zophar again in Job 20, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what that means for us, what we can get out of Zophar talking. So starting in Job 11, 1 through 6, it says, and Zophar the Naamathite replied to Job, shouldn't someone answer this torrent of words? Is a person proved innocent just by a lot of talking? Should I remain silent while you babble on? When you mock God, shouldn't someone make you ashamed? You claim, my beliefs are pure and I am clean in the sight of God. If only God would speak. If only he would tell you what he thinks. If only he would tell you the secrets of wisdom. For true wisdom is not a simple matter. Listen, God is doubtless punishing you far less than you deserve. So let's go back a slide real fast. And I want to point something out before I forget to do it. Should I remain silent while you babble on? I mean, he's not being very nice here. He's actually being so direct and to the point with Job that he's basically mocking Job. 2 sides. You got this. So he's being incredibly brazen to the point he's mocking Job. He's just like, Zophar is like, hey, you're doing something wrong. When I read that, I was like, whoa. That's a little harsh, given what Job's going through. It's a little bit much. You would think he'd be a little nicer. No. And then Job 11, 7 through 12, it says, can you solve the mysteries of God? Can you discover everything about the Almighty? Such knowledge is higher than the heavens. And who are you? It is deeper than the underworld. What do you know? It is broader than the earth and wider than the sea. If God comes and puts a person in prison or calls the court to order, who can stop him? For he knows those who are false, and he takes note of all their sins. An empty-headed person won't become wise any more than a wild donkey can bear a human child. Let's look at verse 8 real fast. It says, such knowledge is higher than the heavens. And who are you? It is deeper than the underworld. What do you know? So Zophar is saying Job isn't important and doesn't know anything. Job apparently knows nothing. And I mean, that's pretty mean to say to someone who was pretty important before everything kind of happened to him. But then it gets worse in verse 12. It says, an empty-headed person won't become wise any more than a wild donkey can bear a human child. He just blatantly calls Job stupid here. I mean, there's no way around it. That's pretty straightforward. It's just like, Job, you're stupid. Yeah, so far, not a great guy to this point. Maybe he'll get better. I don't know. And we have to remember who Job was before he was afflicted, before he went through all these trials. Because then it really puts the point home, like Zophar he's being a little much. So who was Job before his trials? Who was he? He was blameless. He was a blameless man and very wealthy. So that wealth would have brought him status. So everyone around him would have respected Job. They would have been people that listened to what he had to say. Because they're like, well, Job's wealthy. He's a good guy. All right, let's listen to him. And then people would come to him for advice. Because, I mean, when you have that kind of status, you're that respected. I would want advice from somebody like that. That'd be nice. But that's not what he was getting. So in Job 19:18, it says, and we'll come back to this a little bit later, even young children despise me when I stand to speak. They turn their backs on me. So that's where Job's at in this moment. Nobody's listening to him. No one respects him because he lost all he had. But Job was, and honestly, he still is, maybe not the wealthy part, but he is blameless. He should have still been respected. People still should have listened to what he had to say because it didn't change. The only thing that changed was the situation. He who he was never changed. Not even a little bit. He always stayed firm in who he was and who God called him to be. Job 11:13 through 20, it says, if only you would prepare your heart and lift up your hands to him in prayer. Get rid of your sins and leave all iniquity behind you. Then your face will brighten with innocence. You will be strong and free of fear. You will forget your misery. It will be like water flowing away. Your life will be brighter than the noonday. Even darkness will be as bright as morning. Having hope will give you courage. You'll be protected and will rest in safety. You will lie down unafraid, and many will look to you for help. But the wicked will be blinded. They will have no escape. Their only hope is death. So Job 11:13 through 15. If only you would prepare your heart and lift up your hands to him in prayer. Get rid of your sin and leave all iniquity behind you. Then your face will brighten with innocence. You'll be strong and free of fear. So Zophar is telling Job, okay, if you just do this, everything will get better. It's very cookie cutter, straight to the point. You have to do this, this, and this, and this, and all your problems will go away. Now, even in our own life experience, we all know it's not cookie cutter, do this, this, and this, and it's all going to go away. No. But that's what he's saying. That's how Zophar thinks. He just thinks, okay, if you just do this, all your problems will be solved because you had to have done something wrong to deserve this. Of course, we know that's not the case at all. But that's what Zophar thinks. He's like, okay, well, here's the proof of what's all going on. And so just do this, 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 and you'll be good. Not so much. So straight to the point. Now let's jump to Job. And this is a little bit after, so there's been a couple more speeches. Eliphaz and Bildad have both responded another time. And now it's Zophar's, or Job's going to speak, and then it's Zophar's turn again. And then this is the whole chapter, so bear with me. Job 19:1 through 29, it says, then Job spoke again. How long will you torture me? How long will you try to crush me with your words? You've already insulted me 10 times. You should be ashamed of treating me so badly. Even if I have sinned, that is my concern, not yours. You think you're better than I am, using my humiliation as evidence of my sin. But it is God who has wronged me, capturing me in his net. I cry out, help, but no one answers me. I protest, there is no justice. God has blocked my way, so I cannot move. He has plunged my path into darkness. He has stripped me of my honor and removed the crown from my head. He has demolished me on every side, and I am finished. He has uprooted my hope like a fallen tree. His fury burns against me. He counts me as an enemy. His troops advance. They build up roads to attack me. They camp all around my tent. My relatives stay far away, and my friends have turned against me. My family is gone, and my close friends have forgotten me. My servants and maids consider me a stranger. I'm like a foreigner to them. When I call my servant, he doesn't come. I've depleted with him. My breath is repulsive to my wife. I'm rejected by my own family. Even young children despise me. When I stand back to speak, they turn their backs on me. My close friends detest me. Those I loved have turned against me. I've been reduced to skin and bones and have escaped death by the skin of my teeth. Have mercy on me, my friends. Have mercy, for the hand of God has struck me. Must you also persecute me like God does? Haven't you chewed me up enough? Oh, that my words could be recorded. Oh, that they could be inscribed on a monument, carved with an iron chisel and filled with lead, engraved forever in the rock. But as for me, I know that my Redeemer lives, and he will stand upon the earth at last. And after my body has decayed, yet in my body I will see God. I will see him for myself. Yes, I will see him with my own eyes. I'm overwhelmed at the thought. How dare you go on persecuting me, saying it is his own fault? You should fear punishment yourselves, for your attitude deserves punishment. Then you will know that there is indeed a judgment. Whew. Job says a lot there. But one of the things I want to point out is verses 13 and 15. It says, my relatives stay far away, and my friends have turned against me. My family is gone, and my close friends have forgotten me. My servants and maids consider me a stranger. I'm like a foreigner to them. You see, in this little section, Job speaks on what he truly lost. See, I don't think Job really cared about his possessions. They were just what they were. But when he went through these trials, he lost his family. He lost his friends. He wasn't respected. He lost really the things that were important to him. Just gone. So how easy is it to forget the ones who are struggling, the ones who are suffering? I mean, Job was forgotten. Even his three friends, honestly, really weren't that nice to him. You know, I just imagine kind of like Jesus, like kids running up to Job and wanting to talk to him and wanting to listen to what he had to say. And then now when they walk by, they see Job and they just turn the other way and walk away. I mean, how many people do we know that we struggle and we're like, that's a lot. I don't want to deal with that. I'm just going to leave him alone and walk away. And then eventually, that person may be thinking, well, I've been forgotten. Nobody cares. I'm lost. I mean, how simple is it for us nowadays just to shoot a text saying, I'm praying for you? And how effective that'll be to that person, go, I haven't been forgotten. Maybe they don't even see it that way, like, oh, another text. But really, you haven't been forgotten. They haven't been forgotten because you sent one little text that said, I'm praying for you. It doesn't have to be any more than that. It's something that simple. You don't have to go deep into their struggling and their suffering with them. That may not be a safe place for you, but it's simple, hey, I'm praying for you. Then at least they're not forgotten, like Job was, because he truly was. And I was back to Zophar. Don't go to the next slide yet. Hold on. Now, you would think after Job had just said this, that Zophar would be kinder. He would say something, nice. No, so in Job 20:1-7, it says, then Zophar the Naamathite replied, I must reply, because I am greatly disturbed. I've had to endure your insults, but now my spirit prompts me to reply. Don't you realize that from the beginning of time, ever since people were first placed on the earth, the triumph of the wicked has been short-lived, and the joy of the godless has been only temporary. Though the pride of the godless reaches to the heavens, and their heads touch the clouds, yet they will vanish forever, thrown away like their own dung. Those who knew them will ask, where are they? Zophar straight up calls Job wicked. I mean, Job just laid down his heart and was like, hey, this is what I've lost. This is what you guys have been doing to me. And then Zophar comes back and just like, you're wicked. And I could show the rest of the chapter, but it doesn't get any better. Truthfully, it's not great. He doesn't ever redeem himself by any of his words. Zophar was so mean to Job because he thought he knew better. He thought I have all the answers without a doubt. Zophar's only redemption was when he brought his offering to Job at the very end of Job to pay for their sins. That was his only redeeming factor. So what does that mean for us? And is Job Zophar never spoke to Job with love. Not even one time. At all. I mean, I looked. I specifically looked for that, and it's not there. Bildad, he redeemed himself in the third speech a little bit. Zophar didn't even get a third one. And I'm kind of glad, because I don't know how that would have gone. 1 Corinthians 13:1, it says, "If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I'm a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal." So if we say anything without love, it's pointless. It's worthless to literally everyone that hears it. I mean, if we're talking without love, anyone that hears that is like, well, what was the point in that? Like, did you accomplish anything by saying that? We may not think that in the moment, but when we're actually like thinking about it, if something said without love, it's truly pointless. It doesn't benefit anybody. It only causes harm. In Ephesians 4:15, it says, "Instead, we will speak the truth in love, growing in every way more and more like Christ, who is the head of his body, the church." So when we talk to people, we should always be loving, and we will become more like Christ. So we should really be careful with every word that comes out of our mouths. Everything we say has an impact. Everything. So I know I've talked to people sometimes and stuff just comes out. I mean, was that loving? Hopefully. I don't know. But we should know. We should really think about what we're going to say, especially to people that are suffering like Job was. And really be considerate and go, okay, so they're going through this, but I want to say this. Is this really helpful? Is this really loving? So, a couple questions to wrap it all up, as if the first one I gave you wasn't enough. Do you speak truth and love? Something really to think about. Do you really speak truth and love? Or, and this is fun, are you harsh like Zophar was? Are you harsh like Zophar was? I mean, Zophar was, you guys saw it. You saw the verses. He was harsh. He didn't care what anyone else thought. But we really should care. We should care what comes out of our mouth. We should care what other people, how people might perceive what we're going to say. Sometimes we may be led to, stir the pot a little bit. It happens. It's not a bad thing either. God may be like, hey, stir the pot. But especially with people that are suffering, we have to really be considerate of our words. Really be considerate of what we're going to say. Because you may think it may be helpful, but it may be harmful. So I'm going to pray, and then we got a song to wrap it all up. And then Stephanie will come up to end us out. All right, Lord, I thank you for this time that we all get to spend together, learning about Zophar. Lord, I pray that we would just go through and just focus on our words and understanding that we always should be speaking with love and not with any intent to harm or even just, accidentally saying something that is unloving. Oh, Lord, I just thank you for this week. In Jesus' name, amen.